Hi, I'm Suzie from Nail Career Education. So now you've got all your acrylic applied on your plastic finger. Now we have to file it and sculpt it into somewhat of a nail. That's what we're going to do in this video. Let's get started. In my DIY nail workshop video that I just released, I have showed you how to apply all the acrylic on the plastic finger here. So now you've got this lumpy, bumpy thing on there, or you've done it really smooth, which would be awesome, but nobody does that in the beginning. I never did. I'm going to show you now how to file this and sculpt it into a nail. Okay, so in my kit, if you have my kit, you don't have to have my kit. But if you do, these are the files that I've supplied. And this is what we're going to use. Okay, so when you first buy a file, professional ones anyway, they're quite sharp around the edges. They make them quite sharp right to the edge. So we've got to do what we call scoring them. So you can take another file and you want to take the edges of it and you want to soften it. So you want to rub it against another file and soften all of the edges and all the corners. I learned this the hard way. And the reason why we do that is because when we start filing it on our client, now, Fingerella here is not going to get hurt. But when you file that on skin, you could slice it right down in there. We don't want to do that to anybody. That's why we practice on the plastic fingers first. So here's my file. It's all scored and ready to go. When you hold the client's finger, you want to be able to hold and pull their skin back a little bit so you can get at there and get the file in there without cutting their skin. So of course on the plastic finger, we can't do that as much. That's why I'm telling you how to hold a real finger. The first things we want to do when we're filing, when we start filing, is I find my free edges, okay? Meaning, so I sort of hold your finger like this and I'll turn it a little bit sideways and I'll get my file right under there. You can see that I want to be able to file that free edge so it's not so messy. And I also want to take it straight up and down on the side, straight up and down like that. And I do this on both sides to sort of determine and bring in those sides that it might be just a crazy mess, okay? And then I want to file the free edge. So I go this way. Now some people might say, oh, you're going back and forth. You can do that with acrylic, not suggested with natural nails, but we're not working on natural nails. This is acrylic and you can go nuts. Now, it's uncomfortable for the client. So I suggest that when I grab the finger, I hold the nail plate down and underneath the finger, and I hold that really steady. So when I hold her finger or his finger, I can go just like that and it won't hurt them, okay? But if you don't, watch what happens. Now, a real person's finger will do that. It'll just go back and forth and you'll just hurt them. We don't want to do that. So make sure you do get a good grip. The longer it is, the more of a grip you have to have. The shorter the nail, the less you have to have. If it's really short, I often don't even have to hold it and it doesn't hurt them at all. So I'm going to determine the length. This is a bit long. You probably won't do it that long when you're first doing it. So I'm going to shorten that right up. It's not a real person, so you can see it better. I'm going to hold it like this. Now, when you are filing the free edge, you will notice if you've built it properly, look how thick that is. It's getting thicker and thicker the shorter I do it. The reason being is because when you build it, it needs to be thinner here, arching up in here, and as we go down, it gets a little bit thinner. But we're shortening this and shortening and shortening. I'm doing that deliberately because I want you to see how thick of a build that is. We're not going to leave it like that, but we definitely want to see our nail as we shorten it getting thicker. That means you're building it correctly. So let's establish a length here. Now these little fingers come with a sticky that you can stick it on the table, but clients aren't that rigid. They can be stiff sometimes, but they're not that rigid. You can move a finger around quite a bit, so I'm not going to suggest that you use that. Let's get our length decided. Let's go for a long square, so you can see how thick that is. We're going to work on that. It looks pretty square. I'm going to just square up the side a little bit. We'll make a square nail. I'll get into other videos and we'll do the stiletto, we'll do the almond, we'll do oval, we'll do scround, we'll do all those other shapes. But right now, let's just start with a basic square. I find one of the most common things, everybody seems to make one side a little bit fat. So if you look down it directly like this, one side, I'll see if I can do it. Yeah, okay. Often when I go around to the tables to talk to my students of how they're progressing, when we get to the filing part, This side will be straight, and this side will have a little bow in it. And it never fails. If you're right-handed, I find the bow is on this side, little bulging part, and the straight is on this side. If they're left-handed, I find they're totally straight on this side and bulging on this side. And that makes common sense because, you know, we're obviously favoring one side. So what's happening during that bow? Usually the end tip is where the square wants to be. But when they're getting a little bit bowed on the side, generally they're pretty straight. But what's happened is it's on the top side that it's fat. So you look down that barrel of the nail, you can see how thick it is. And I'm going to try to square it up. So now I'm going to start attacking the top of it. This is the hard part. This is why when we're doing our application, the closer it is to the cuticle, when you're trying to get in there with a file, you're working against the flesh. You don't want to be near there. And if it's sitting on top of the cuticle or right against it, you're going to file it and cut the cuticles. This is happening everywhere, and that's not what we want. You're better to be a little further away with your application than to be butted right up. So when we're filing, we want to go like this. Now, one thing I've noticed is when we're doing this, it's very hard for you to see. This is the same color as we want the nail plate to be. Companies are making the pinks to be very complementary to the finger color. But when we're filing and I'm trying to teach you, I just can't see it. So here's a little trick. This is not for you to do to your nails, but I'm going to put this gel on and I'm going to cure it so when we're filing you can see exactly where I'm hitting it. Because at this point you're just going, well, that's fine. She's filing, but I can't see where you're hitting it. So let's nuke that. 30 seconds. Oh, look at the nail career just shine up in there. Can you see that, cameraman?
Wow.
That looks cool. Look at that.
You didn't plan for that, did you?
Of course not. I'm not that smart. I'm a child, really. So I'm just giving this a 30-second cure. So when I file this, you'll be able to see exactly where the file is hitting the nail. Otherwise, when it's all the same color, we can't see. Oh, you know, I do have to take the stick off of there. Hang on. I forgot about that. Okay, I'm just gonna wipe it on the towel. You can see around the cuticle there, I put all the nail polish, gel polish, on the acrylic. So when I'm filing it, you're gonna see where I'm taking it off. It's gonna wreck my file, but we have a mission here. So when I'm filing, I will just gently do it around the cuticle without trying to hit the skin. See that? See how I'm hitting that ever so slight? Now, when I'm filing this, I'm going to take the angle of my file. What we don't want to do is take the file and file flat because then we'd be taking down the arch. That arch needs to be left there for strength. So what we want to do is hit the file on the side a little bit. I'm going to turn the finger a little bit and I'm going to hit the file on the side and you'll be able to see the polish come off as to where I'm actually hitting it. Now this is not going to work for the whole filing process, but for the first part you'll be able to see. So I'm going to take this right down on the side like that. See that? That's where the file was hitting. Then I'm going to switch the other side. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. See that? So I'm leaving the center. And then I'm going to look down the barrel of the nail and I want it to be thinner. So I'm going to hit the end of it like this. Okay, you can see just the end came off. So I'm leaving the arch point. See that? That's the arch point. You want to keep that the highest as possible. It's still looking good. I mean, you don't want it to be like really high. You still want it to look good and you'll determine after that. So we're going to take that down like that. And you can see down the end, see how that's getting thinner and thinner? That looks good. I'm going to go down more on the side there. It's getting there. I'm going to go down more on the side there. Look at that. That's really nice. It's a nice curvature this way. You know, the more of a curve your nail has on the end like that, the stronger it will be. If it's quite flat, it can break a lot easier. So when it's got that curve, there's strength to it. See, look how I'm still maintaining that arch in there. That's not the area that I'm hitting. keeping that nice and up in the center. So you just kind of turn it all sorts of angles, keep turning the person's finger. Now we're doing it with a hand file. One day I'll get into teaching it with the drill. And you just got to keep checking it all the time. But you're basically keeping that motion across here. If you're going to go across the top, just keep that nice motion like that. Okay, so when you look down the barrel of it, it's starting to get to be the depth that you want. So if you look down the straight and you're trying to keep this square, like I say, if you see that bulge, you're like, I'm filing and filing. This is so common. It's an easy mistake to make, and it took me a while to figure this out. But you're filing and filing, you're going as straight as you can, and you're still like, it's still kind of bowing a little. It's not straight like a square should be, right? That means it's on the top side that it's thick. And that's where this method comes in handy when you're on the side. Bring that side right in like that. Right now it's maybe straight on the side, but it's bulging out on the top side, okay? Like a chef's hat, straight, and then poof. What we want to do is make it straight all the way over. So when you're looking at it straight, you want to come up on the side and narrow it in, okay? We're getting there. It's looking good. So then I just kind of go over the whole thing and just kind of smooth it. And eventually that green will be gone because I'm going to be just blending it all into each other, right? Okay, it's looking pretty good. I hope that green paint helped a little. Again, it's not the color that we want on there. I just did it so when we're filing, you'll be able to see exactly what we're filing off, what area I'm actually hitting. Now you do want to look at it sideways too. So this camera, you can see sideways. You want to maintain a nice smoothness in the cuticle, building up in the center near the arch, and then coming down on a nice slope. If it drops off really sudden, you might want to bring your arch down a little bit, but make sure that you're still nice and thick on the end. Okay, so for a little bit more finishing, I've included in my kit, and again, you don't have to have my kit. You have a file kicking around that's a little bit on the smoother grit. You just want to take it, and again, you don't want to hit a cuticle with this stuff either because it just over time, repetition, keep hitting the cuticle over and over, it's gonna cut at some point. So this one, this is not going to shape things. So this is just going to smooth. So I'm just going over the whole nail and making it nice and smooth. Now this won't be smooth to touch, it'll still be bumpy to touch, but it'll make the whole thing smoother, but it still needs to be finished. And you can even feel it feels a lot better. Now this one I've supplied in the kit, this has got 4 different sides to it, and this should make it quite shiny. So the smoother ones will be the last things you want to file on it, and these 2 steps on this side will be first. So this will take it down from it's feeling kind of rough to now don't expect you to be able to file it down and lickety-split and make a beautiful nail out of it. It's going to take a bit. There's a skill to all of this, right? Okay, the next one would be this lighter gray that's on here. And if you can feel it, it's getting smoother and smoother. This is particular if you're going to shine it up in a clear finish, put a top coat over top or nail polish over top. But it's not good if you're going to put gel. If you're going to put gel, we should have left it and not started filing with this at all. Gel likes a bit of a rough. But we'll get to that in another video. Then we're going to switch over to the other side. We're going to go to the white, and you can feel it. It's starting to get really soft, really smooth. Now, watch this one. This one makes it like glass-like, like a top coat. You can see it, hopefully. See how shiny that is? You see that? That can smooth it up really nice. There you go. That's a nice, smooth, finished nail. So when you look down the end, you want it to be quite even from this end to this end, and the thickness is the same all the way across. You don't want it to be wobbly or too thick. So that's the goal where we're heading. It's going to take a while to get there. It's just practice, practice, practice. So follow along with me and we'll do it. That's just one style and color of nail we can make with my kit. And in the kit, I also have Princess Pink. This is a new color that Max has released. Look at all the glitter and stuff in there. Look at that. That is so pretty. So I'm going to show you how to do a fade with this color. And I've got a few glitters that we can add in another video and show you how to put in glitters in there. Look at those. That's great. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're just getting started. I'll see you in the next video.